It's 2 shows in 1, the Superhero Comic-Con and Car Show, August 4th through the 7th, in San Antonio at the Freeman Expo Hall, presented by Thomas J. Henry. It's a Comic-Con with stars like Ewan McGregor, Haley Atwell, Simu Liu, Giancarlo Esposito, wrestling superstar Hulk Hogan, and Arrow's Stephen Amell, and many more. Plus a massive Hollywood car show with 45 awesome cars like Batmobiles and Transformers Optimus Prime. Tickets available at pmxevents.com.
I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. This is This Week in Cruton. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. No Next Level Athlete anymore. I'm used to saying that. We still love our friends at Next Level Athlete, but now at Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
There you
go. Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. I got to redo my whole thing now.
You just literally had to rewire your entire brain.
I've been doing that for years.
We talked about how many shows it could have, we're probably over 150
of us together.
This week in Cruton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right, because you've been doing this for about 4 years.
We always talk about you being, I guess, the most, probably the person besides the two of us that have been on the show the most.
TexasFootball.com/recruiting is where you can find all his fine work. And this is segment is brought to you, of course, by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express, the big game is on Sunday. The big game.
Ooh, that's a power move. Bring in yellow boxes.
I feel like I don't even need to say anything else. The big game is on Sunday, and this segment is brought to you by Chicken Express. If you can't connect those two dots,
it's delicious.
Can you? Because you came over very famously. You came to a barbecue at my house, and you brought Chicken Express, and it was just man, it's like you cracked the code.
You won.
I feel regret too for it. If there were leftover, I think there were leftover rolls because I doubled down on the rolls.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take them. I left them there.
Allow me to
those rolls.
Allow me to tell you, I don't regret.
Still have regret.
I have no regrets on that.
That next day, I was like,
went into my tum-tum.
My boyfriend came to that, and when we left, he goes, "Was Powers the one that bought Chicken Express? That was clutch."
Yeah, that's right.
I was the brand is strong.
Win your big game party at Chicken Express. It's This Week in Recruiting. Let's start with our prospect of the week. Prospect on the rise.
That part hasn't changed.
It's been a few weeks since we've actually done This Week in Recruiting.
Our prospect on the rise. Let's go to the Houston area and go to the private school ranks. Talk about Fort Bend Christian's offensive tackle Bennett Warren, who is now among 10 new DCTF 4-star prospects, and it's showing on his resume. He's picked up offers from places like A&M, from Texas, from Auburn, LSU, Michigan. It goes on and on and on. And yeah, this is a guy. We've kind of put out a lot of content for the class of 2024 on TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And Bennett Warren, maybe a name that flies under your radar, maybe because Fort Bend Christian, maybe a little bit off the beaten path as far as recruiting is concerned. But Bennett Warren, the tape don't lie.
No, he's got I think his coach reported he has a 7'1" wingspan.
Jeez.
So large human in Bennett Warren, and his recruitment has really taken off. He picked up an offer from Texas at the junior day there. Longhorns creeped up his list. Then he followed that visit up with junior day stops at TCU and Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
They've both offered him now as well.
Mm-hmm.
And LSU has offered, and he's thinking about taking an unofficial visit there at the beginning of March to get a closer look at the Go Tigers program. But we're just rattling them off now. Once you got those, what's really left? You got an offer from the team that played for the national championship. You got what I consider, the two big in-state offers. And LSU is like that gateway offer, right? Towards the SEC and further east into the SEC. When LSU makes an offer, Alabama, Georgia, all these other schools really pay close attention to those programs because they're rivals.
Mm-hmm.
So Bennett Warren really is going to have an opportunity to play wherever he wants.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe I'm putting you in a tough spot. It strikes me that at the private school ranks, they put out a lot of big-time star, especially offensive linemen.
Yeah,
defensive linemen too, but offensive linemen especially.
Tommy Brockermeyer was the number one player a couple classes back, now transferred to TCU. You have Donovan Jackson, who went to Ohio State. He's probably coming back onto their roster next year, their best offensive lineman returning. 5-star guy as well.
Walker Little is a name that springs to mind.
Walker Little playing in the NFL now. And then you have, just if you're going to make a stop by Fort Bend Christian and you're going to check out Bennett Warren, go ahead and put eyes on 2025 athlete Kobe Sellers as well, a guy who will be a 4-star.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that down there. Fort Bend Christian's 2024 offensive tackle Bennett Warren, one of the new DCTF 4-stars on TexasFootball.com/recruiting. Let's roll on to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week, we're going to South Oak Cliff, where we were supposed to be a week ago. Then weather got
Dumb
in the way.
ice.
Yeah.
Where their athlete Jamari Colley, a.k.a. Wildman has committed to SMU, which is a big get for Rhett Lashley, considering this is a guy, a DCTF 4-star, a number 30 in the DCTF Hot 100. He had offers from places like Georgia, from A&M, from Texas, from USC, but he's going to the Hilltop. This is a really nice get for Rhett Lashley and company.
Yeah, no doubt. And, just wanted to stay at home. When Colley first popped onto my radar, it was his sophomore season. They won the state championship, but he's a big dude. I thought, wow, what would this guy look like as an outside linebacker? And that was coming off of a season where he racked up close to 900 yards and I think 15 touchdowns, something like that. So that was a weird question to ask, but it's just when you look at him, you can see his freakish potential on either side of the football. He desires to play offense, and he's done a good job at playing wide receiver. Obviously, he understands how to use his frame and out-muscles smaller defensive backs and bigger defensive backs for 50-50 balls. But he's a sneaky good route runner. Like, he's open often, and he has a great catch radius, long arms, can shield those defensive backs away from being able to make a play on the football. Really like his potential at SMU, and I think that he has a chance to dominate that conference. And in 2024, what a great way to get a fast start for Rhett Lashley.
Well, and this is exactly the kind of guy that if you are Rhett Lashley and company, these are the types of recruiting battles you want to win. You want to give guys who want to stay at home an opportunity to stay at home and just lean in and be like, yeah, sure, you can play at a high level. You can play and go to the NFL if that's what you want to do. You can do it all from the comforts of home. And obviously, I have to imagine that was a big factor in Jamari Colley's decision.
Yeah, no doubt. And SMU is going to have to fight to keep him committed, right? That's the type of recruits that you want.
Yes.
You want the recruits that everybody else is
that you have to keep re-recruiting.
Yeah, you want the recruits that everybody else is still trying to get. So, huge win to kind of kick off 2024. There's a lot. I mean, really, the ball's starting to roll a little bit with commitments. There's commitments popping up every day now. It was a pretty good week of commitments because you had Leonard Moore down at Round Rock. He committed to Notre Dame. You had Armstrong Nodum at Mesquite Horn, who committed to Rice, which is one of the best Rice commits, by the way.
Yes, ever.
It was a great commitment. I can't believe that Armstrong doesn't have. They call him Strong because he has a 455-pound. That's his nickname, Armstrong Strong. 455-pound bench press and a 675-pound squat.
Okay.
Man,
So-
we're the same human.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all better start calling me strong.
Good week for in-state commitments in Texas.
Thank you for just blowing right through that stop sign. I appreciate that. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers. Go to TexasFootball.com/recruiting for all things recruiting in the state of Texas. Let's go to our underclassmen of the week. Our underclassmen of the week, staying in the DFW Metroplex, let's go to Red Oak to talk about their 2025 wide receiver. Their 2025 wide receiver, Taz Williams. And he is on a heater, as the kids would say. He now has 20 scholarship offers with new offers from places like Alabama and Georgia. Already had offers from places like A&M, TCU, Michigan, etc. He was a breakout superstar for the Hawks as a sophomore, and people are starting to take notice of what Taz Williams is all about.
This one's crazy to me because Taz came, to the next level athlete camp a couple years ago, and I feel like he checked in at around 5'9", 5'10", 155 pounds. Now he's 6 foot 175. And watching him play on the field last year, you could basically see that how much he had grown up. He's going to be a dude, right? He's already got Alabama and Georgia and all the other offers you mentioned. So there's no doubt that colleges know him as a guy who can make an impact at the next level. But I love watching these guys kind of grow up, right? And I got a chance to call the Red Oak Lake Belton game for Texan Live last year.
Yeah.
And it threw me off. That was, I think, was that my first game, Pickle, that I did? I think it was.
No, you
no,
did
it
Temple.
wasn't. it threw me off because they listed him as Montaz, and I just know him as
Yeah.
Taz. So Montaz was he returned a kick for a touchdown and super explosive in the return game, and I'm Montaz Williams. Well, I didn't even connect the dots that was Taz until like halftime. I was like, who's Montaz Williams?
Man, this Montaz Williams is pretty
Williams
good.
is killing it.
I should put together a profile for him.
Like I thought I was like walking into some big, huge discovery. Come to find out, he'd already long time ago been discovered.
That's
but
funny.
He's going to be a key integral part of the Red Oak offense there, which is transitioning to a new head coach. Very bright and talented young group of prospects at Red Oak. They not only have Taz, they also have Braden Robinson, a 2026 wide receiver who's getting a lot of attention, and Kamorion Morgan in the 2025 class at defensive end, who's already a DCTF 4-star. So the future is bright down at Red Oak. There's a lot of reason for college coaches to stop through there in the spring evaluation period. And, of course, Warren Roberson.
Yes.
He just flipped his commitment yesterday from TCU to Texas. So I think it was like the last shoe to drop in the class of 2023. So 2023 is now final as Red Oak cornerback Warren Roberson is now a Texas Longhorn.
Yes, that was another bit of news coming out of the 2020 class of 2023, class of 2023, as they haul in Warren Roberson. But keep an eye on Taz Williams there at Red Oak, just going to be a junior this upcoming season. Let's round things out with our Recruit of the Week. Our Recruit of the Week going to San Antonio. Talk about San Antonio Veterans Memorial running back James Peoples, who is going to go play in the 2024 All-American Bowl. He's our number 12 prospect in the DCTF Hot 100 in class of 2024. We just released the new top 50, including the top 10, which drew some eyeballs from people yesterday. He's already got 20 offers. Places like Alabama, Texas, Ohio State, Oklahoma. He's pretty good, I would say, and he's going to be taking his talents to the All-American Bowl. I imagine this is just a good opportunity to talk about, hey, James Peoples, pretty awesome.
Yeah, he is, and I always like these cool stories because, the All-American Bowl's in San Antonio. So he gets to stay home and play in front of his family, friends, coaches, teammates from Veterans Memorial, and a huge honor there for the high school and the player, James Peoples. One of the most talented backs in the entire country. He's got a really long offer list. He hasn't pared it down to like a top set of schools, but just watching this thing as it naturally progresses, I think two schools to keep a close eye on so far are Texas and Ohio State. He's going to be taking an unofficial visit up to see the Buckeyes at the beginning of March, an extended visit where he's going to spend multiple days there, a few days on campus. And then, of course, he was one of the highly touted prospects that the Longhorns had on campus for Junior Day, which is, in-state, that's one of the big events, right? The UT Junior Day every year. It kind of became that in the Mac Brown era. You remember when they used to have the UT Junior Day, like they would put together their entire recruiting class basically on that one weekend. Things have changed. It's not like that anymore. These players tend to string out their recruiting process a little bit longer now. Texas doesn't push to have everybody commit on one weekend, but I think Hookham made a pretty good impression on Peoples while he was on campus.
A name to know there, James Peoples, one of the top prospects in the entire class of 2024. You can find the Hot 100, the new Hot 100?
So this is how we've attacked it. We updated the top 10 yesterday. There's a new number 1 in Duncanville defensive end Colin Simmons. 2 new faces in the top 10 in Taylor Tatum and Justin Williams, outside linebacker from Conroe Oak Ridge. And, of course, Tatum is a record-setting running back at Longview. We updated the entire top 50 today. So to be a 4-star at DCTF, you have to be rated within the top 50. So all of the 4-stars, or the initial set of 4-stars, were named this morning. And we will release the top 100, the rest of, the top players in the state next week. But we're going to be doing some top 10 lists in the interim. Top 10 quarterbacks in the state. Will all 10 of these guys make the top 100?
I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out next week.
Well, and the other thing, I guess we can talk a little bit about it. The top 2 yesterday, because we released the top 10 overall.
Right.
Top 2. Number 1, Colin Simmons at Duncanville. Number 2, Micah Hudson at Lake Belton. Is it fair to call them 1 and 1A?
Yes.
Those 2 guys?
Yeah. I mean, Hudson was number 1. When did we name him? Like, Hudson's been the number 1 prospect for probably close to a year.
Yeah. So these are these guys. You're not going to be upset if somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, by the way, Micah Hudson should be the number one prospect." Like that's not going to be. You're like, no, you're
certainly
wrong.
not.
Yeah.
I think that you could have either one of them at top of your rankings list this year, and no one would be upset about that. And as a matter of fact, looking back to like some bold predictions that we made, 6 to 8 months ago, I think you're going to see a very number one prospect across like the recruiting sites this year. As a matter of fact, I think Kobe Black is the number one in-state prospect at 24/7 Sports. Then I think it's Hudson and Simmons, or Simmons and Hudson. I'm not sure exactly what that rankings order is. But you're going to see different guys, I think. And one guy who's a little bit of a sleeper that I think gets in the conversation by the time the dust settles is Frisco Reedy offensive tackle Max Anderson. And I
know
say
you're high on him.
I say that because I feel like he is the type of guy that not a lot of people are going to see on the camp circuit. He's not a big camper.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to go off of what you see in person on film, or if you have a chance to go to a game. Well, backstory for recruiting fans, Frisco ISD isn't open to basically recruiting media.
Yes.
Right? So it doesn't offer a ton of opportunity to go out and see Max Anderson in person. Dude's a freak.
Yeah.
Great in the weight room, technique sound, has a college pedigree, and is ready to go from a physical standpoint to step foot on campus and compete for playing time early. That's just a little name to watch as he gets in the mix. Maybe he gets in the mix for the number one prospect by the time it's all said and done. But it's definitely a talented group.
He's Greg Powers. He's our director of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout and see his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. Stick around because I've got some more things for you to do.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.